Rejection is never easy, but it's so much worse when it happens in the public eye, where the humiliation is documented for all to see. For actors, forming crushes with co-stars or other celebrities makes a lot of sense. They work closely with one another. They understand the pressures that come with the terrain. But the flip side of having a very public crush is that when you get rejected, it also happens in a very public and very painful way. Here are 15 actors who had their celebrity crushes rejected.
You should go.
Who doesn't love a bad boy? Especially when you're 12. Our favorite witch Hermione may have felt otherwise, but Emma Watson has admitted that between the age 10 and 12, she had a really terrible crush on Tom Felton.
He was a few years older and he had a skateboard.
Wow.
And that just did it, really.
Who can resist a skateboard? But unfortunately for Emma, he only saw her in a sisterly way, despite her obvious crush. Thankfully, they've been able to remain great friends over the years, but I guess we'll always wonder what could have been. A little-known fact about Dancing with the Stars icons and siblings Derek and Julianne Hough is that they were extras in the first Harry Potter film. Over the 2 months they spent shooting Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, Julianne developed a huge crush on star Daniel Radcliffe. She even sent him a love letter and a Beanie Baby for Valentine's Day, but he never responded. Jules said that she had to go through an assistant and couldn't get it to him directly. She still feels embarrassed about the whole thing, but who can blame her for having a crush on the boy who lived?
She's only interested in you because she thinks you're the chosen one.
But I am the chosen one.
Everyone knows Leonardo DiCaprio has a type, and Cara Delevingne seems to fit the bill. So given Leo's penchant for models, it's no surprise that he chased after Cara pretty hard during an after-party at the 2013 Cannes Film Festival. He was there celebrating his role in The Great Gatsby, but seemed more interested in gaining Cara's affections. According to insiders, though, Cara wasn't interested. Maybe it's time Leo focuses on finding a model his own age.
I'm not going to answer that question. I like to keep my private life private.
One woman's loss is another woman's gain. So it seemed at least when Taylor Swift apparently made a move on Bradley Cooper after his split with Zoe Saldana in 2013. It all happened at the Golden Globes, where Taylor asked her friend Jennifer Lawrence to make the introduction, since she and Bradley co-starred in the Silver Linings Playbook. But Bradley rejected Taylor, preferring someone his own age and looking for something a little more serious. If only Leonardo DiCaprio could take a page out of Bradley Cooper's book. Josh Hutcherson had a major crush on Emma Watson. Who doesn't, honestly? Well, other than Tom Felton. Hutcherson even went so far as to ask his manager to get in touch with her manager in order to set up a meeting between the two actors. Sadly for him, nothing came of it.
I had like the most embarrassing moment, I think, of my entire life.
Maybe he should have tried the direct route. It hasn't happened yet. One day, fingers crossed, he said. Poor Josh. It's been 7 years since he revealed his crush, so safe to say that one day probably won't come anytime soon. When Hilary Duff and Aaron Carter were fresh-faced and just starting out, they actually dated for a time. It makes sense. Both were teen idols, and Aaron even made an appearance on Lizzie McGuire. More than a decade later, though, Aaron seems to have trouble letting go of the past. He publicly declared his love for Hilary Duff on multiple occasions, even tweeting about how he'll spend the rest of his life trying to get back to her. Asked about it on Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen, Hilary was pretty uncomfortable.
It was so many years ago.
Right.
I literally haven't seen him in, so it's uncomfortable.
And speaking of Aaron Carter's exes, Lindsay Lohan also makes the cut of actors who've rejected other stars. Now, if Harry Styles showed up at your door in the middle of the night, would you turn him away? Who in their right mind would? Well, Lindsay Lohan, apparently.
Do I know you?
The superstar singer supposedly showed up at Lindsay's hotel room one night at 2 in the morning. Surprisingly, Lindsay says she didn't recognize him and had no idea who he was or why he was there. So she simply said good night and sent him away. The Vamp singer James McVeigh and Game of Thrones actress Sophie Turner briefly dated in 2014, but then things got a little messy on Twitter. Sophie ultimately tweeted asking him to please stop texting me, it's getting creepy and I'm sorry, I'm not interested. Thank God the internet is there to document the messy breakup forever.
I'm gonna go.
Years later, McVeigh claimed the whole thing was a joke between the two and wished Sophie happiness with now-husband Joe Jonas. But it seems a little bit like he was trying to backtrack now that Sophie has moved on for the better. Nicole Kidman appeared on The Tonight Show in 2015 and spilled to Jimmy Fallon that she'd had an unrequited crush on him when they first met years earlier. She thought they were meeting for a date, but Jimmy thought it was a meetup to discuss working together, so he totally failed to impress her.
And then you put a video game on or something, and I'm like, this is so bad!
She took it as him having no interest. Talk about a missed connection. Fallon was floored when Nicole revealed she'd been interested in him all those years ago.
What are you talking about?
Poor Jimmy didn't even realize he'd blown his chance to date Nicole Kidman. But both are happily married, so it seemed to work out for the best. Next up, Taylor Swift and Brenton Thwaites both starred in The Giver in 2014, which of course sent up rumors left and right that the two were dating, especially after they both appeared in a photo together at the Toronto International Film Festival. Thwaites cleared things up though, saying it was surreal that people thought they were together. We know Taylor is a bit of a serial dater, so it makes sense she would go after a hunky co-star. But still, having someone publicly announce their disinterest has gotta hurt.
Brenton and I just go to Jeff's room and play guitar with him.
And speaking of public humiliation, Aziz Ansari told the story of how Blake Lively rejected him on Howard Stern's talk show. According to Aziz, the two supposedly traded phone numbers at an event way back in 2011, after he learned that Blake was a fan of his work. Aziz texted her afterward but never even got a response. Being ghosted by the person you're into is another level of painful. Who knows if that was even her real phone number? But Blake is now happily married to Ryan Reynolds, so it's safe to say she's not feeling any regrets.
First text, 4:11 a.m. I love alcohol.
The young stars of Netflix To All the Boys I've Loved Before reportedly had a mighty powerful spark off-screen as well as on. According to Lana Condor, who plays lead character Laura Jean, the two actors were hanging out at Noah's apartment having pizza and she felt something for him. Unfortunately though, she told him,
Noah, it's not gonna happen between us.
It's one thing to be rejected by someone else, but stepping in and drawing a line in spite of your desires is kind of commendable. They agreed to be mature and keep things professional, but the spark is definitely still there. In an interview with BuzzFeed, Tiffany Haddish was asked what she would do if she met her celebrity crush. Her answer? She already had. And being as bold as she is, she straight up asked her crushes out on a date.
They all turn me down. Trevor Noah, Michael B. Jordan.
That's rough, but we can't help but admire Tiffany's openness and tenacity. Better to rip the bandage off and have an answer than pine away. Jennifer Lawrence has been pretty open about her love of funny men. She said she's been in love with Seinfeld creator Larry David for a really long time, despite the fact that he's more than twice her age. She's so smitten with the comedian that she even gave him her phone number once. Sadly, he never called, but Jennifer didn't even mind the rejection, saying, "I love that he didn't call me. It makes him so much hotter."
She said she had a crush on you. And she said she also had a crush on me.
Selma Hayek has the lovely distinction of having rejected the President of the United States, Donald Trump. Of course, he wasn't always president. There was a more innocent time when he was mostly just known for firing people on TV. Apparently, Trump befriended Selma's boyfriend at an event and got both of their numbers. Then he seemingly forgot about her boyfriend because he started just calling up Selma and asking her out to dinner. She declined, but Trump insisted. Selma's boyfriend wasn't good enough for her.
I kept saying no. I said, didn't you sit there and have a boyfriend? He goes like, hey, he's not good enough for you.
As tough as it is to be rejected by your crush, we should all be grateful we don't have to go through it publicly. Which of these crushes and rejections surprised you the most? Drop a comment below and don't forget to subscribe to The Things for more awesome videos. Thanks for watching!